is up? Welcome back to the hashtag Lockboss Show and Giveaway. Of course, I am PJ, and I'm happy to be with you today. I tell you what, I was checking out the comments. Welcome one and all there in the chat. And of course, I actually just threw in the Discord link for the Lockboss after party over at our friend Jimmy J Iowa Lock Docs Discord. So after the show's over, I don't know, somewhere 5-10 minutes after, you can mosey on over there and we can keep the party going. It's been pretty cool. More and more of you are showing up every week. We're hanging out, asking questions, talking about really a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Really, it's quite fun. So if you want to come hang with us, there's the link. And yeah. Now, of course, I got this right here, the Topo Chico. Now, I did spike it with a little bit of Pina Colada Zip Fizz. Okay, just for the record. So, anyways, cheers to all you out there drinking a Topo or your favorite beverage of choice. Cheers. I like it. Now you can still see I actually got a little bit of coffee going on. It's still warm. So, hey, why let it go to waste when you can drink it, right? All right. Anyways, I tell you what, we're going to be having some fun today. Of course, we're going to be going over the post of the week, the comment of the week. We're bringing Wayne on here in just a few minutes, talking about WENXIng Key Machines. And then last but not least, we're going to be announcing this week's 5 lucky Lockboss winners. So that's what we have in store today. And now, Julio, we are going to have a guest on here in a little bit. Okay. We're going to have a guest on here in a little bit. No confession music for guests. Okay. Now, the Lockfather is an exception to that. Okay, the Lockfather is an exception, but I mean, we don't need you doing weird stuff to guests. All right, never weird stuff. So I'm just throwing that out there, just making sure the record's good. But yeah, we'll have to see what we got cooking on here. Now, before we get going, though, I feel like I need to address something very important. And that is the Y1 stock issue, okay? So I'm pulling it up actually right now. And let's see how many Y1s we got cooking in the oven here. All right. Wow. Okay, so we only have 6,076 left. Let me click. Let's see what we got cooking here. So it looks like on the 5th, there was 20 pieces. 7th, there was a 50 piece, a 250, another 250. Oh, and then someone bought 1,750. Bless your heart right there. 1,750. Then a 10 pack. Looks like someone snuck through a 48 and then a 20. So, man, I tell you what, we're right at the finish line here, folks. We're about 1,000 pieces away of them going off of sale, hopefully forever. And yeah, pretty good stuff here. So, is what we'll do here is I'm sure when we get Wayne on, he'll probably want to know what the heck we got cooking in the oven with these Y1s. But yeah, we'll talk about that in just a moment. But I don't know, I'm taking these off. All right, well, hey, let's go ahead. Thanks for being here. Let's hop into the show and see what we got going on. All right, first up is the post of the week. This one comes from the one and only Mr. Ken Nixon. Says, "You got me rearranging my pick entry stuff and use the Lockpick Lodge for my kit of cylinder working tools." Okay, let's examine. You know what? Ken is showing us what's underneath the covers here when it comes to his pick set. So let's pay close attention here. What do we got going on? I see a couple of leashes and cases. I see 3 different pinning tweezers. Ken, you have to tell us which one's your favorite there. Let's see here. Looks like we got, it's hard to tell exactly what type of picks. It looks like we have some talk tension tools going on. Ken, I like how you have your picks organized actually in your little groups there. I like it very much. I see the, man, what's the name of it? I kind of forget. Pagonia picks on the far right there, kind of hiding. I like it. A little set of ring of keys there. You have to tell us what that's for. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, now we're on to the lockpick lodge. Must be the cylinder servicing tools. Let's see the big bro. Looks like the Keydex tool there. Center punch. Could that possibly, cylinder cap removal, follower. I mean, it kind of looks like I'm seeing another pair of tweezers sitting there. Let's do one more picture here. Okay, looks like, okay, there's some shims. I see a shim comment. There they are. See a nice little pack of shims there. Some gauges. Looks like a F-series plug follower. Hey, it looks like I see the Lockboss screwdriver set underneath there. Very nice, Ken. And, yeah, the shim holder tool there also. Very nice, Ken. Well, hey, thanks for showing us all that stuff. Yeah, Ken, here he is. He says, top secret Pyro Lock Ken. Okay, Ken, hey, your secret is safe with us. Okay, your secret is safe. All right, let's keep going here, Ken. Thanks for sending that in. I'm glad the Lock Fathers pick set really, got you to clean it up a little bit and then to also send us pictures. Really a win-win there. All right, here we go. Lockboss comment of the week. This one comes from Robert Dingman 3041. Says, great tutorial of cutting a key on this machine. Would be a great starter key machine for a newbie like me. Yeah, very good. Very good, Robert. Yeah, thanks for the comment. Appreciate it. And all right. Well, hey, here we are. We're going to be talking about WENXING. And, I'm pretty excited about it. So, of course, with the lockpicks.com acquisition, part of that was also the WENXING Key Machine line. So I've had a lot of fun exploring it. I'll continue to explore it with you all. And I figured it'd be a great and perfect time to introduce you to a really amazing person. Of course, over the past month or so, I've got to know him, and I'm really excited to have him on and share some of his experience with you all, and really for all of you just to get to know him, because I think you should. He's a really awesome guy here. So without further ado, here is Wayne. Wayne, what is up?
Not much. Good afternoon, PJ. Everybody else. Excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, Wayne. So, Wayne caught me this morning cracking a topo at 9 a.m., and I'm still going strong here at 4. But Wayne, so I want to dive into WENXING, and I kind of wanted to start it off really quick with your experience with WENXING, which has been over 10 years. Am I right?
Even more than that. So Lockpicks has carried WENXING machines for, I would say, at least 20 years. I started there in 2008, and that was already going strong with WENXING at that time. So I started to learn about that time. And so I would say about 10, maybe 12, 15 years I've been dealing with working on the machines, learning about the machines, and surprisingly happy with the brand. Very happy with it, actually.
Awesome. So, I have a bunch of questions for you here, and and of course, for all of you who are watching, definitely, if you have a question for Wayne, drop it in the chats. He can see him on the right. I can see him there. And then, if we can, we'll answer them. So Wayne, first up, I want to just say so the machine the video I did on Sunday, it was kind of cool, where I took the simple key duplicator out of the box, set it on the table, and I essentially shortly after just turned the camera on and kind of learned about it with everyone watching. So it was kind of fun. And I'm curious, kind of a two-part question. What are your thoughts on the 218, the simple key duplicator? And then also, who do you think it's best for?
Well, it's a machine that I think we introduced. I'm not sure how long WENXING's had it in their line, but we introduced it probably 6-7 years ago, something like that. Maybe a little more than that. And it's been one of our best sellers. It's a very basic machine, but very strong. So it has minimal features. There's no brush on it. So you would need to get like a wire brush to brush off the burrs, off the keys. PG's got one right there. Do you sell it?
I haven't sold it. I actually brought one in, and I was like, I went and got one, and I was like, how does it actually work? Because, not to interrupt you, I got done shooting that video, and I'm like, man, you still gotta get the keys brushed, right? So I bought some of these, just real basic, nothing too fancy. And I realized that it's not a bad, of course I would like a buffer wheel, but without a buffer wheel, it's actually really nice just to get in there and hit it really quick.
Yeah, and the machine's cut pretty clean. So there's oftentimes not even really any need for that with that machine. But if there is, just having that little hard wire brush is plenty to brush off the last few burrs.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I was going to say that machine is probably suited for realtors, mom and pop shops that, just occasionally cut keys, property managers, maybe people that run storage units where, any place where you're doing keys on occasion, light duty, it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Low cost, it'll run forever.
Yeah, I was very impressed, actually. I actually had my dad when he was here, and I had it hooked up. I had it sitting right. I guess you can't really see it right here. And it's like, Dad, I want you to cut a key on this and just be honest, like what do you think? Because when I cut the key, like in the video, I was like, man, it actually cut better than I was expecting. And I had my dad cut a key on it, and he was like, man, he's like, I think I might get one of these for an extra in the shop, So I was like, hey, you want me to load one up right now or later,
Yeah, and that's just the low end of what's available through that brand.
Yeah.
So that's the economy version.
It's the economy version. And one question I have on this, actually. So it has a two-way jaw, right? And what would you say is the hardest key or a key that you just can't cut on it? And the reason I ask is because I had a lot of people asking me to try different keys, and I kind of want you to tell me the hardest key, and then I want to see later on if I'm able to actually cut a key on it.
Yeah, so when we're dealing with two-way jaws, generally I've found that they still accommodate most keys, like the vast majority of keys, but there are some oddball keyways that it has trouble with. I think one of the ones that comes to mind is the Z keyway for GM Z keyway. If you're familiar with that, I'm sure some of the viewers are familiar with that key. On a two-way jaw, like any other machine that has two-way jaws, you have to use like a shim or something to get that to grip that particular key. Then sometimes it'll pop out or it'll get angled and get a bad cut. Other than that, there's not really many, especially within the US, that you won't accommodate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think, even people who have four-way jaws, a lot of times still really like to use the adapters because, I don't know, it can be tricky. I've done a few videos on how you can do it without the adapter. If I'm cutting them on a four-way jaw machine, I'm not using an adapter, but yeah, I had to try cutting a B106Z keyway on it. It'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it? And
Yeah.
I'd have to have a lock too, though, right? Because you want to always try the lock.
You
Or the
want to test it for sure.
You do. You do.
Because it may cut it and look fine, but you may find yourself with a problem because it may slightly tilt on you.
Yep. Yep.
So, but that's that's common with any two-way jaw machine. You're going to run into that. That's why it's ideal for these light duty use for these mom and pop shops and such, because they're generally not cutting somebody's car key,
Yes. Well, and I think,
especially
one
that
of
GM car key.
exactly. Yeah. And something like, so in the lock shop I grew up in that my dad has, he has, I don't know what, 4 or 5 machines on a long bench, right? And he has several 4-way jaw ones, but the first one is actually just this old 2-way jaw machine. And so much of the keys, like if someone were to come in and want a quick set or a Schlage cut, you'll see everybody go to that 2-way jaw machine and cut it. I don't know. It is the first in line, so maybe that's why, but for whatever reason, even myself, like, you always just go to that
Yeah.
simple machine to cut it. But
Yeah, and that motor is plenty powerful. It's a light duty motor, so you don't want to cut, a million miles an hour with it. You take it a bit slow because it's light duty, but it cuts clean. Motor's plenty powerful, so
mhm,
impressive machine for the cost.
absolutely. Yeah. So we have some questions coming in, and I'll ask you some of them here in just a moment. But I don't actually know the answer to this question, and so I'm kind of excited. I have a guess, but I'm going to keep it to myself, which is, what is your favorite WENXING key machine?
I'm gonna say the W233D. Was that your guess?
It was my guess.
Yeah. I feel like the W233D machine is every bit as useful as like a Bravo 3 Silka. Now, will it run as quiet? Probably not. Will it leave a little more burrs? Probably. Those kind of little things. Is it sleek looking? No, but it does the job. Does the job, and it's very similar in operation. It's both fully automatic or manual optional in case you want to just cut a key manually, which I find very easy to do sometimes versus the automatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So it's really like it can be a fully automatic machine, or it can be a fully manual,
Yeah,
and it has
there are
4-way
some
jaws.
there are some quirks with that machine. They have recently started putting 15 amp fuses in there, which is great because the motor, they had been putting 10 amp fuses. That's babying those motors too much. Those motors are really good. So what would happen is someone would start that machine, they would flip it on in the cutting position where the blank was right up against the blade. And so the machine with the blade and brush and would start to turn, hit the tooth would hit that key, and the machine would think that it's jammed up or something, and it would blow the fuse to protect the motor. So that happens on occasion if people start the machine that way. That
Yeah.
288, I'm sorry, the 233D machine.
Okay, and probably on the automatic setting, I'm guessing in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really the only time that'll happen. Otherwise, you're turning the machine on and then manually lifting it up. But if you were to put it in a position, engage the upward spring tension, have it up there, and then turn the machine on, it doesn't always, but on rare occasion, it'll blow the fuse, which is no big deal because it's super easy to change the fuse on all those machines. You don't
Yeah.
have to take any, you don't have to unscrew the bottom or none of that. You just pop something off the back and put the fuse in there.
Yeah, they're like little I don't know. I think of like Tic Tacs when I see them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's part of the fixture where the fuse is located on that brand most of the time. It's part of the fixture where you plug the cord into the back of the machine. There's a little cubby hole that you just pop out, and it's right there. pop a new fuse in it. And they actually come with spare fuses in there.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, yeah, Wayne, thanks for sharing that. And I was kind of figuring, like, I've never asked you that question before that I remember, but there's a lot of times I remember you kind of bringing up the 233, you know, and
Yeah.
so it doesn't surprise me, you know, and we've been, you know, selling them too. So, I mean, it seems like it's one that a lot of people like. So, yeah, so I have quite the, you know, I have a 27A sitting right down here, and a bunch of other ones to kind of go over, but, so we have some questions here, Wayne. So I'm going to pause from asking you questions and let's see a few things here. So we have Ken Nixon. What's up? He asks, what does a replacement cutter cost? And I guess I can actually look that up, can't I?
The WENXIng line, like most line, has available options, aftermarket options, as well as WENXIng cutters. So there's, you know, different pricing options with the cutters.
Okay, yeah, Wayne. Do you know that part number off the top of your head here? I'm live on the internet trying to search my own website and I'm getting nervous.
I'll do it. You're looking for what model?
Just probably the simple. Oh, here it is right here. 5940. You know, it's funny, Wayne, now that I even look at that, I'm like, we actually just got done talking about that like today. So
Yeah.
about that cutter. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah. So Wayne, you know, let's kind of dive into cutters here for a second. So WENXIng has made cutters, but you've actually chose to, over the years, to sell an alternative cutter for replacements.
Right.
And that brand of what you've been selling, what I'm selling now is Rays, right? And something with all of that, actually, as our Rays stock goes, we sell it down, we're actually going to be replacing it with a new brand called Kisa. So stay tuned for that. Excellent cutters. But yeah, Wayne, and I'm guessing you came to that conclusion just over time of selling cutters that you figured going with like a Razor Keyset was a better option.
Yeah, we've been selling Rays for a long time because, well, I'm not sure what initially got him into stocking the Rays, but one of the things was the fact that the WENXIng blades have never been all that high quality. They're okay, but the rate in which they break teeth and dull has been, in the past at least, a much higher rate than we were comfortable with. And it was a shame because the machines are so solid. The motors are so good and they're really solidly built, all metal. Really like it, but it would be a shame for customers to get a bad taste in their mouth because they cut a key and it's got a bunch of burrs or it breaks teeth really quick, whatever. So we contacted WENXIng, who's always been very accommodating for changes that we'd like to make to machines and whatnot. And initially, what they started doing, and this is probably 10 years ago, initially what they started doing was putting an extra cutter in with the machines. So that was their initial answer when we told them this was happening to the customer. And then eventually they went back, after about 5 years they did that, and then they went back to only one cutter. But I think they might have changed who they use to produce their cutters over there, because we haven't got nearly as many complaints about the dulling cutters, breaking teeth and such. But amidst all that, we brought on Rays, and they've just been super solid, cut clean. It's just really, and Rays, you know, don't quote me, But I have a feeling that Ray's makes cutters for a lot of manufacturers.
Yeah.
So, just brand them whatever it might be. Ilco, HBC, JMA, I don't know, but, you know, don't hold me to any of those manufacturers, but I have a feeling that there's some out there that are just rebranded and then the price, of course, is much higher.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, especially like if people who are watching right now have used the Triton key machine, right? And, or have bought the replacement X horse blades from us as well, which are the raised Kisa ones. They're good. I mean, they just are,
Yeah,
right? And
really
they're
good.
very economical. And there's a lot of cases where spending $175 for one new bit it's just not a good idea, right? When you can get like a Kisa one for $24 or $50, right? So makes a lot of sense. Wayne, another question here from NY Locksmith says, question, the key guide doesn't look too sturdy, or was it just the angle in the video?
I feel like they're pretty sturdy. There's set screws on those so they can be adjusted easily. If it's important when you use those to back them off, though, off of once you've set your keys. If you cut those, it can bend that little bar that those are on. So then you have to replace that. But it's super easy to replace that. And I don't think, I mean, they're available on lockpicks.com too, the replacement flip over gauges, if that's what the question's about.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, they're, I guess my answer to that question is that, essentially the same. The one nice thing about that gauge that it would be in a lot of ways nice if the more expensive manufacturers would do is having it be adjustable is so nice. When you have a machine over time, it gets bent and wears. Mm-hmm. And you end up having to buy a new one when all you really need to do is a little adjustment. Or if you're like my dad, he's over there bending it and playing with it, and then it just never is what it should be. But
yeah, and if you look at a flip over gauge like on the 9120, where it's all one bracket, it's all one piece bracket. I've never replaced one of those. I'm not sure how easy that is to do. But if it is bent, or if it goes out of calibration, it's pretty much finished. You have to replace it.
Yeah.
So whereas this, if you can recalibrate it, the tips, there's a set screw there where you can adjust it, you can loosen it, put it into proper position, retighten it, and it holds pretty well that way. So yeah, it's more efficient than it looks.
Absolutely. Matt's Lock Shop. What is Matt? How you doing? He says, what about the tubular machine?
We've recently just gone back and forth, you and I, PJ, about the tubular machines. You now have some experience with those. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, so I don't have it sitting here. The handheld one, really awesome, really simple and basic, and really everything I thought it would be. That's a good one. I actually have a video coming out in a few weeks actually on that one. And I was thinking about doing another video. I'll probably do over time a couple of videos on that thing and playing around with it. The electronic one, I plan to shoot a video on soon. It's easy to use if you've used an electronic duplicator for tubular keys. And Wayne and I were talking about this because there's this guide that drops down that you do an easy lineup on. And this guide, if it gets bent just a little bit at all, it's just not good. Right. And so the last batch that you guys got didn't have that guide on it. And you just have to manually line up the key really quick, which isn't a big deal. And Wayne, I don't know if I told you about this when we were talking about it, but I think what I think a really good solution should be, and I'm talking to you 3D printers out there, okay, is what if we did this? What if we made like a little cap that you put the key in, and then you just took this little cap and just put it over the key and tightened it down.
Yeah, you know what? WENXING might be accommodating to that. They might do something like that. Sounds like a great idea.
But you know what I mean? Because like is
Yeah.
what the gauge was doing down was just it was coming down, you know, and the spring tension would just line it up on the tubular key, and then you tighten it down, right? Well, in this case, as a tubular, it has the spring tension. Just make a little 3D printed cap that has the right dimension, stick it over it, boom, lined up perfect every time.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think
think you
about
do
that?
need something. Yeah, I think you do need something on there. What happens is the normal guide that comes down in shipping that gets bent, even if slightly, it'll throw it off. So we've had a lot of machines. I wouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount of machines that were returned, and that was simply that they thought it was out of calibration, but it wasn't. It was simply that in shipping that little bar got bent slightly, and that'll throw everything off. So
Yeah.
I think what Barrett did, Barrett Brockage, I think what he did was ask them to remove it. Because and it's the machine itself is super similar to like the Ilco 009B. It's the same thing, except half the price. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, and I don't know if that one has the flip down bar or if you just, you know, hold it in there flat to, you know, line it up. But
Yeah. 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 I think it's yeah, I think it's pretty good. And I think I mean, a tubular duplicator is like a tubular duplicator. Like all the parts and functionalities of it are pretty basic and, you know, pretty easy to understand.
yeah,
I just think having a solid, like the worst part is, right. And I think a lot of times is what happens with people in like key shops or any place is that, you know, something can get bumped really bad, or, I mean, who knows what. And a lot of times it's not really highly technical people cutting the key. And so they're going to flip it down and just try to do it. And if it's bent and you don't really know, and since there's not another gauge, right? Like the one reason it works well on like a normal key machine is you have your tracer and then your cutter and you drop a gauge down. If they don't line up or you start to cut, you can actually visually see there's a problem. On the tubular, not so much, right? So with the design. So I'm thinking a little 3D cap would be awesome. You know, cheap, you know, little cap, put it in there, tighten it down. I don't know. 3D printers out there. Can I send you a machine? Then you design one, and I think it'd be fun. Wayne, I mean, from the surface, and it's okay if you think it's a bad idea, but I'm curious if you think it, like, what do you
I
think?
think it's a great idea, and I think they'll do it for you.
Oh, you
If
do?
you ask them to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe if I have any of my 3D printers out there, maybe you can make one for me just so I can, or I have a 3D printer actually. I just don't know how to make the file. Wayne, do you know how to do that? Make a 3D printed file?
No, I have no experience with that.
And the only one in my house who does it is my 8-year-old Alice, and I don't necessarily know if, yeah, I don't know if that would be good or not. But be interesting.
You'd be surprised sometimes.
Oh
But
yeah.
you know, they'll, you know, you can, if you just design something and draw it or give WENXING the idea, they can probably come up with something. We had the Q27C machine that we just recently started carrying. It's a small machine, kind of reminds me of the 9120 from HPC, except it has a ton of features. One of the things on that machine is it has like a large tooth carbide cutter, and which creates a lot of, you know, brass shavings and things like that. It gets all over your pants and feet more than your average key machine does. So it's one of those things that, you know, we need to address. So we asked them to add a shield on it, and the next batch they added, you know, they designed a shield into it. So they'll do stuff like that for you. You can fine tune that brand.
Absolutely. Yeah. It looks like my dad's in here saying tip to tip, baby. Oh man, that's good. James says working on an add-on for my Nomad. Ooh, that'd be cool. Or okay, he's clarifying tip to cutter. There we go. There we go. Um, that's good. That's really good, Wayne. So I guess the last question here, and Wayne, I don't know if you can believe it or not, but we've been on here for 35 minutes. Is that crazy?
Seems like nothing.
It really seems like nothing.
Barely
Huh?
getting scratching the surface on WENXING.
We are. What would you say the biggest mistake that WingSync users make? So, I mean, because you essentially did all the WingSync repairs for 18 years, right?
Something like about 12 or 15 years. Yeah.
Over 15. Okay.
Yeah. What I could. There was some were a little over my head because I'm not an electrician, but for the most part, certainly mechanically could take care of whatever things come up.
Yeah. And so is there something like a common mistake that you would see people make with the machines?
Well, I mentioned with that 233D that people will, start it with the blank in the cutting position. So there's that. That's pretty common. It's a call we would get, and it would be like a 3-minute phone call where we'd, tell them how to change the fuse, send them a short 30-second video of how to change a fuse, which is super simple, and then tell them to not do that. Other than that, the W288E machine, which is one of the most popular machines, and it's actually, I have a love-hate relationship with that machine. I think it's an amazing machine as far as durability and accuracy, and it's a fully automatic machine. No manual option, but it has automatic shut off when the cycle's done. It has all these features, a lot of features in a low cost machine, especially for a fully automated machine. It's in a total lower price bracket. But the more features you have, the more issues you might have. So while they're all simple to fix, the automatic shut off, there's a little sensor strip in there that can get bent slightly, and then that stops working, and you just have to take the bottom off and bend that strip back a little bit. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
But as far as issues, we get the most customer feedback on that machine because they get confused. If there's a video online that Barrett did about how to run it, and you got to kind of do it exactly like it's done in that video, because it has emergency shut off switch on the top, which doesn't really need to even be there, a brush switch on the bottom, which will just run the brush, but you might as well just run a cycle with it if you're going to do it. So it has all these things, and if the buttons aren't in the right position, the machine won't work. So people get confused. Another short call where they call in and say, it's not starting. Well, do you have the top switch in the off position? And they're like, yeah, and that's it. That always has to be in the on position. It always has to be in the on position, that top switch, even when the machine's not running.
Gotcha.
So it's only for emergency if someone gets their hair caught in it or something like that. But it's a feature no other key machine has. So I don't know how, why you can't just use a regular power switch.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't played with it, that one yet, but I do know, if you tell me if I'm wrong, like that machine was also branded as the Jet 9000. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Is it Jet 9000 or Jet 8000? One of the two. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, as far as I know, WENXING just rebranded that as the Jet machine. And that's been on the market for a long time too, but it's the exact same machine, just painted different.
Yep. Okay. So if someone has one of those Jet 8000 or 9000 machines, they can get WENXING replacement parts for the 288E that will fit perfectly.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain. The only exception might be if the machine's somewhat old and they've made slight design changes or something like that.
Okay.
you know, because obviously the jet machine's not being made anymore.
Correct.
Jet's not here anymore. So, but so they're going to have some older machines out there. But if you do have a jet 8,000 or 9,000, whichever it is, you can use the WENXING parts for it.
That's awesome.
Most likely, yeah.
That's awesome, because I know that was a fairly popular jet machine, and with jet no longer being around, it's cool that people can buy those parts from us. I mean, the fact that we stock almost every single part for that machine, and all the parts are actually really reasonable and affordable, so they can keep those bad boys going, right?
Yep.
Very good. Okay, last question here, Wayne. Do the included instructions include that info?
The info that we just went over?
Yes.
Some of it, they do. The little quirks that I mentioned, they probably don't have that. But there's not very many. I mean, there's quite a few machines in the WENXING line. There's only 3, and it's really the 3 we've talked about. It's that tubular machine, the 423A machine, the 233D, and then the 288E. Those 3 models, they're all pretty fast moving models, but they have those quirks. Once someone watches this video or, you know, calls in one time, they won't have any further problems.
Yeah, I think so. He was talking about the switch positions,
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few other things I haven't mentioned with the 288E, but really nothing significant. And the other machines are pretty much, I never hear any feedback on them. It's good or bad. It's just, you know, which is no feedback's good feedback.
Yeah. Very true. Well, shoot, Wayne, it's fun having you on and talking about WENXING and your long history with it. And you have any final closing remarks or anything you'd like to say, or you want to hang on and help me announce the winners here in a moment?
Sure. Well, yeah, that'd be fine. The last thing I'd have to say about WENXING is that I learned that they are pretty much, there's several models you'll find when you look online. One comes to mind. It's called DEFU, DEFU. And that is like a copy of the WENXING. So there's other manufacturers over there that will knock off WENXING. So if you see those models have had really bad history. We've brought some of them in to check them out, and they're even lower priced, but much lower quality.
And I find the name interesting, DEFU, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I mean,
there might be something behind that, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's a rinky-dink brand. It's just a knockoff of the WENXING. Yeah. So they're solid. You know, they have, you know, people knocking them off left and right over there. So
it's good. Yeah, I mean, I think WENXING's been making key machines about as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and they make barbecues, from what I understand, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if I can get them to send me a BBQ.
Maybe.
Right? Maybe. I mean, like I currently see it now. Hot dog eating contest while we're cooking hot dogs on a WENXING barbecue and cutting keys on a WENXING machine. I mean, now we're talking, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Very good. All right. Well, hey, Wayne, let's hop into the winners here. So yeah, thanks for being here, Wayne, for sure. It's been fun having you and talking WENXING. So really cool, man. I appreciate it. And the comments are pretty funny on the on that name. Oh my gosh. Okay. With that being said, what am I doing here? Let's see. Okay. Yep. Let's do it like this. All right, here we go. Let's get on to the winners of the week. Now, before we do, let's make sure we go over the rules and we're on the same page on what to do if you. Julio is still alive out there. Here we go. What to do if you win. Email us your shipping info to sales@clksupplies.com or call us today, 100-848-6989, and we'll send your gifts soon. How to win. Comment on our videos with the hashtag Lockboss. Winners will be chosen from comments on the previous week's videos for our weekly giveaway. No purchase necessary. All right, Wayne, how about this? I'll move to the winner number one, and then do you want to announce the winners?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Sounds fun. All right, winner number one is Leo Campos.
Congrats. Here we go.
Yeah. Winner number two, Lee River Guy.
Congratulations.
And then winner number three is GL Nooner.
Congrats.
And then we got our winner four is Doc Ex Machina.
Very nice. Congrats.
And finally, here we go. Winner number five, Polar Bear 7334.
Congrats, Polar Bear. Very cool. And of course, right now we have our Lockboss Locksmith for Life full zip hoodie going on right now. You can get it, you can buy it, but why buy it when you can get it for free with orders over $250? Make sure you add it to your cart. And I tell you what, that's a new era hoodie. It's pretty awesome. And yeah. Well, very good, Wayne. That kind of wraps up the show this week.
That's fun. I could do that. I could read those names and butcher those all day.
You're right. You know what? I've been reading those names and butchering them for years now. For years. But well, man, really cool, Wayne. Well, hey, it's great having you on, and I know I'll be chatting with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And, very good, Wayne. And hey, and feel free if you ever want to hop on to the after party as well. We're just over there. We'll be over there hanging out, and sometimes they gang up on me over there, Wayne.
Oh, I got to be there for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a blast. Thank you for having me on. Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Good stuff, everybody. Well, hey, I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful Tuesday evening. And of course, we'll see you same time, same place next week. Y'all take care. Wayne, you have a good evening.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see you.